What's up, good people? We are back for episode 4 of the Funding Frontier Deep Dive. I'm your host, Cloudy. You can call me Claudio or Cloudy, with a chance of opportunity as long as you join the Funding Frontier team. You know, a prop firm that really cares about its community and wants you to grow. So if you're an expert trader or you're just starting out, this is the place to be, sharing some tricks, sharing some trades, and getting the best on this show for you to learn from. And today, I hope you have your passports ready because we've gone from the US. We've gone to Lebanon, we've moved to Singapore, Dubai, and now we made our way to Malaysia, all the way to meet a 25-year-old full-time trader by the name of Satesh, and bear with me with the surname, he's going to have to help me with the pronunciation, Subramaniam. I hope I did you justice there, Satesh, when I bring you on here. And just before we introduce him, Funding Frontier is a prop firm. It can help you trade from 5K to up to 400K accounts. And it is out in terms of from a rate perspective, one of the best rates you can possibly find. So without further ado, Mr. Satesh.
Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you all. And just for your information, it's pronounced as Subramaniam.
Subramaniam. I think I got it better there. I should have done that before introducing you.
It's okay. It's all good.
What I quite liked about it was it reminded me of a submarine. And when we're talking about your trades, I kind of feel like you work underground, and when it's time to surface, you make an appearance like this, and then you get back to work like a submarine does. Lethal. Can't be detected until we talk about your earnings. But before we talk about your earnings, Satesh, you've been doing really well with Funding Frontier, which is why you're on the show. And people are going to be very interested to hear about you getting 3 payouts in 2 months, very consistent. And those payouts aren't small. And when we're talking about someone who does a 9-to-5 job, those earnings are far more than what they do on a daily if you take your average person. So you're going to give them some insight as to how they can do what you're doing. But before we do that, we're going to kick off with our trade maker. It's the Funding Frontier version of a icebreaker. So the question for you, Satesh, is if you had to wake up tomorrow and you've been transported to a world without money,
okay,
and instead people trade goods and services, what would be the first thing you would offer in exchange for something you need, and why?
What will I offer?
Yes, in exchange for something. You know, you don't have money now, but now we need to trade. You and I, what would you offer? What do you have to offer?
So I don't have anything physical with me. It's just something that's innate within me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If that's the case, then I think motivational words, like in terms of empowerment, I think I get that quite a bit. Whenever I talk to my friends, they feel like, oh, I always feel very empowered when I talk to you. So I think that will be it.
I think that's...
And also, okay, but since money is not involved, then yeah, so it's the first one.
No, look, I love that. In terms of today's society, when we're looking at knowledge being a currency, that's the perfect. I think you're already leading, which is why you're here. So it makes sense. It's 2 and 2. We're going to impart some of your knowledge. So again, guys, this is what he has to exchange. He is the expert. Some could say a little bit of a mentor. But let's dive into this. Satesh, we're going to talk about you.
Mm-hmm.
What's your background before we talk about any trading specifically? I mean, we know you from Malaysia. We know you're 25 years old. But give us a little bit more insight about who Satesh is.
All right, so So usually I start off like this whenever people ask me. I don't know whether as the years go by, should I start all the way from the beginning, because I feel like if I start all the way from it, it goes on and on and on. But why I started trading to begin off with, because I felt like I wanted something more out of life, because I'm someone who grew up in a household where there wasn't any business knowledge being passed on. There wasn't any investing knowledge being passed on. It was just like follow the grain, get good grades, get a degree, get a proper job, and you just go up in the life, find your way in your life, just following everyone else, right? So I did all of that, and I was a very good student growing up, and I got good grades, and I got into university, and I was doing my degree, and that's when I got into a sales job with a bunch of my friends and stuff. And that's when I realized, wow, there's a different route out there that you can take in terms of starting a business or things like that, So while I was in that mindset was when my friends introduced me to trading. So when my friends introduced me to trading, and I was just instantly, it felt like a part of me. Like I was like, something like, oh, this is like so amazing. Like it felt like I was in tune with the charts, like to the point where teachers will be teaching in the front, but I will be learning how to trade in the class because I thought that this is my way. This is what I want to do. I no longer wanted to follow what other people do.
So
I just want.
what were you studying? What were you studying? Because you
Initially,
were a
I
good
was
student.
initially I was doing engineering,
Yeah.
and I was under a full scholarship to do engineering, but I couldn't focus. I couldn't bring myself to focus to actually do it because I was so absorbed by trading at that point in time. Then I told my parents that I'm gonna quit engineering, and I asked them to give me about 8 months or so
Yeah.
to get my trading on track so that actually initially I told them that I'll go back and do finance degree. But in my head, I was like, I'm gonna make this work in 1 year and I'm not gonna go back. But at that point in time, I didn't know better, and I didn't. It was my first year of trading, and always things don't go according to plan. So I didn't. I just made a lot of losses, but I learned a lot from it, and I
Yeah.
eventually had to go back to doing the degree because I have nothing to show for to my parents.
Yeah.
So that's why I had to. But while I was doing my finance degree, then I was still trading in the background. Then around after 1 year or so, then my trading kind of picked up, and I just like took the decision to defer 1 year. I didn't quit entirely. I deferred 1 year, and then I quit after like 1 or 2 years, and then I'm just doing full time now.
Jeepers. So it took you were quite quick to get up to speed then. Obviously, your background of being a good student, you got the trading bug and then you couldn't put it down. So that was naturally
Yes,
eating into other areas of your time. You're good at
correct.
having hard conversations, clearly, because you had to convince your parents this was a good idea. And then,
Yeah,
like you said, you failed and you learned fast. And now so you didn't even finish your finance degree then. So you stopped your engineering
yeah,
degree,
yeah.
finished,
I did.
didn't complete. Yeah?
Yeah, because in my head, for me, it's like, firstly, I'll be wasting my parents' money, and I didn't want that because I felt like there was no use for it. And everything I learned about finance in the 8 months when I was home by my own learning about trading was something that they were teaching me. So I wasn't learning anything new in terms of like investing, in terms of like mathematical formulas. It's all something that I could learn on my own. So my thirst for knowledge in finance field was already being fulfilled by my own education. So I didn't feel
Yeah.
even like I was like, okay, you know what? Let's just do a finance degree. At least I will learn something in my field of interest. But I
Yeah.
felt like it was a waste of time, waste of money when things that were being taught were just something that I could learn on my own.
Yeah.
So that's why I took the decision to do that.
But I mean, what I find quite interesting is you wouldn't have done that if it wasn't for a specific friend group who was speaking about that, right? So you said your natural household, there was the traditional norm, go
Yeah,
get a good education, go get a job, which is what most of the world does, right?
true.
Then
Yeah,
they get the degree, they get left out, and then they realize, damn, I've got these bills to pay off. I've got to work this hard job. I'm only getting X amount. I've got no
yeah.
autonomy. But there was someone in your friend group that kind of got you to see something different. Because I mean, that's innovative to say, I don't need traditional schooling. I'm going to teach myself something.
Yeah, so it's the friend group that I was involved in sales with. So when I went into sales, like just as a job while I was studying, that is where I met all these different kind of individuals who were going in their own path. They were forging their own path. So I felt very inspired to also forge my own path. As time went on, I realized, not really I realized, but I just started to forge my own path in that sense. So they sparked the inspiration, but I kept myself going because I had an end goal that I wanted to reach. Because I could see the time freedom, the place freedom that trading could give me, and that's what I wanted.
Awesome. So I mean, that was supposed to be my next question was why trading, but I guess it's exactly that, the freedom it gives you to do the things that you want to on your
Yes,
own time. And if you're someone
correct.
that has a huge appetite for knowledge and curiosity, then you're going to keep
Yes,
diving deeper and deeper. And that's kind of what
correct.
you've done. And now you
Yeah.
25 years old. So I mean, how old were you when you decided to you was graduate you're studying? So early 20s?
Yeah, probably just 2 years back. Like I think end of 2021 was when I decided. 2021. Yeah, end of 20. Actually, end of 2021. I deferred 1 year just as like just like a safe thing, so that I can go back the following year if things don't go according to plan. But things went according to plan in that 1 year. So end of 2022 was when I decided to just focus on this full time.
That's incredible. And I suppose with all of this, because you're doing it full time,
Yeah.
and we're going to talk about your strategy now, but just out of a random sort of question, has love entered the trading world or your interest of your trading in terms of being a supporter from a community, or is there another person of interest possibly in your life that is into trading?
I wouldn't say so, because it has always just been me. Like after I realized that this is what I want to do, I literally tuned myself out of the world, and to the point where I even protected this interest of mine. Because in the beginning, there were people like, "Oh, you sure you can do it? Sounds like, it's very hard. Why are you taking like such a big risk and all?" I didn't want to hear all this negativity. So to the point, I tuned them out. Then I even, in the beginning, I was even like, just whenever people ask me what am I doing, I'll just say, "Oh, I'm still studying, I'm still studying." But at this point, I cannot use that lie anymore, because I'm already mid-20s. So now I'm
and
a bit
they're
more.
asking, where are the grades? And you're like, "Oh, I don't know, somewhere online."
Yeah,
Like,
exactly,
look, my grades are, I'm up 8% on this Forex account. That's what I'm up with. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah. So it has always been me. I think for one, that like a lot of people should know that trading is not easy, and it's nice to have a community, but most of the time you're alone on your own most of the time. So you gotta need to have the mental fortitude to go through those challenges and go through those losses. It really makes you such a strong character as a person, I would say. Like trading is like no other.
Yeah. But I mean, I find that interesting because you made a decision, you a man of conviction in the sense that you said, I'm going to commit to this. Now, when we look at the amount of people that do come out on the other end successfully or able to make a living out of it, you're a full-time trader now, so that's what you're doing. The immediate perception of people saying it is risky. Okay, so you're saying you're doing this in isolation, which is hard to keep yourself mentally focused. But is it even worse having the conversation with people who don't believe in that dream or that aspiration, because then they can influence what you're doing on a day-to-day? So from a conservation perspective, is it better to be in isolation than it is to have conversations, especially when you're trading?
Yeah, I think it depends on the individual. Like for certain individuals, they find it better to find a strong community that can uphold them, where they can bounce off ideas of one another, and they can somehow become a better trader because of other traders, right? Because they find communities and such. For me, regardless if they are traders or they are normal people, I prefer to just conserve myself and be in my own bubble. Because when it comes to traders, I feel like there is a sense of like comparison that can be made. If let's say I'm down -2% this week, but they are probably up by 5%, then I may feel a bit like feeling like there's a FOMO there, and I may feel dejected a bit. So in order to preserve my own emotions when it comes to that, I prefer to also exclude myself from communities. And also when it comes to other people who are not traders, then for them, they just hear the generic thing that, oh, forex trading is a scam. You must be so, like, you're just falling into a trap, like you're taking such a big risk. So all this kind of negativity, there's both sides. So that's why I prefer to just keep it within my bubble. Or I do talk about it with certain friends who understand, who's actually there to listen and respect what I do. So those are
So
the few people
trusted
that
people that are trusted within your circle.
Yes, correct.
And I guess
correct.
we might as well dive into this part of the show, the trading strategy, because that's to the point of the emotions versus the strategy. And if you're listening or comparing yourself to someone else's strategy, you might make a volatile decision that compromises your own strategy because you're acting on emotion as opposed to sticking to what your initial targets were.
Yes.
And
Indeed.
in your case, you specifically talk about that when we ask you the question, and you say, you try and block the emotion out and you stick to your strategy. And we've discussed the mental fortitude required. But realistically, for your novice person who's talking about this, the person who is scared, like, how tough is it really to be able to like stick to be a man of conviction of your strategy?
Yeah, it's actually very, very tough, because especially if someone would ask me, how will you go on trading? I will say that you need, first and foremost, you need a trading strategy that you know that has an hedge. And your next step should be backtest to get as much data as you can to support this thesis. that this certain pattern can play out in the long run and can produce an edge for you to make profits. Because if you don't have this data, then you won't you will your confidence in the strategy will be easily swayed, even with my own strategy, with years and years of data that I have back tested. Even I myself, I can get my confidence in the strategy swayed. But the good thing about me is that if I set the rules for myself, I don't break the rules. I'm a disciplined person in that sense. So I don't break those rules. So even if I'm feeling like I want to break the rules, I just like, no, I cannot. I have to continue trading, even if I'm having a losing streak and going through a certain losing periods. I cannot, like, literally, because I don't know what else to do. If I do that, then I know it's I rather I rather take the trade and lose the trade as long as it's following my trading strategy. Then I feel satisfied, because why? That means I'm practicing a good trading habit. So that's why I think back testing is very important when it comes to having the mental fortitude, having the confidence in your trading strategy, and not being easily swayed by other people's opinion. Because you cannot shy away from losses. Losses are going to happen. Even if you're wrong, it's fine, as long
Mm.
as you continue trading the same way again and again. It's not you jumping from strategies to strategies, and maybe this time this strategy must perform, and when it's not performing, you jump to this strategy, and then this time it doesn't perform and you're constantly jumping. You're not getting the positive parts of the strategy.
Yeah, and you're also failing to identify or create your own trading identity, if that makes
Correct.
sense. Because
Very
if you
true.
keep
Yes.
changing, you're not going to know, and eventually you're not going to be guided by anything because you're just
Exactly.
swaying according to what everyone's saying. To my point now, next one in terms of what I want to ask is, you clearly trade in the forex market, right?
Yep.
Previous guys we've had, they were like, no, we're all about commodities. We're all about we don't touch anything else. The question I have for you, especially when talking about a lot of noise, how is it reacting to, say, the crypto market when we're looking at people that are saying 40x, or a lot of YouTube thumbnails popping up and going 40x, 1000x, 5000x, and you here on Forex possibly aiming for your 2%, 3%, whatever it is that your strategy is? How difficult is it or to manage that temptation of going, maybe I should go down that path?
Yeah.
Because also the difference is, and from the crypto perspective, you talk about backtesting, right? And looking at the data. The problem with crypto is there's only so much data available. So in terms of being risky enough, jumping into it.
I'm not gonna lie, the temptations are very real when it comes to, you see people making like 100x, 10x, 20x, 50x. And there are even people in my group of friends who are involved in crypto where they talk about it and all. There is a certain level of like, am I missing out or something? But I'm always like, I want to focus on my end goal. My end goal is to be able to uh, extract as much returns as I can in terms of percentages. Because I always tell myself this 20x, this 50x is not sustainable. It's a one-off. It's a one-off. You can't consistently do it on a year-on-year basis. And that's not my goal. My goal is to do it on a year-to-year basis for the rest of my life. So in order for me to do that, I have to be following what I have planned for myself and not be tempted by the next big thing or whatever is everyone is doing nowadays.
So if we were going to describe you as an athlete, you're training for the Olympic gold medal that's going to take 25 years to run for, as opposed to the weekend race, warrior race, where you're going to pull a hamstring because you haven't prepared, but you're prepared to get the street cred. Okay.
Exactly.
I find that very interesting. So no temptation as far as the crypto sort of scene is, largely because it doesn't fit within your 25-year of yield, profits, and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
Do you have specifically monthly or yearly targets to pay your bills or achieve your long-term goals? Because to this point, you're making enough money that's more than what most people make on their 9-to-5s daily. So do you have any of those?
I don't have targets. I don't set targets. I try to let my strategy play out the edge, because I don't believe in setting targets, because it's one thing. It's like, it's a limiting belief where you set a target and you just close. That's the positive side of it. I mean, when the strategy is doing well, and let's say when it's not doing well, you may also get emotionally affected that Oh, shit. Oh, sorry for swearing, but
No, please, please. This is uncut for the real traders out there. We don't
all
hold
right,
back.
okay.
We express our emotions. So thank you,
All right.
Satesh. This is what trading's about. The F bomb, the shit bomb, any kind of bomb comes out every now and then.
All right,
You
all right.
know?
Okay, yeah. So, like, let's say you set a target, and then you're like, and let's say you set a maybe a monthly target, which I think it's a bit too small of a time frame. But let's just say you set a monthly target of like making an X amount of money, and when you're nearing the month end and you're not reaching the target, you may feel the uh, desire or temptation to overtrade because you have to reach the targets. So that's why I don't set targets for myself. But in terms of like paying bills and things like that, you gotta be that's why you gotta be smart with your personal finances, where you have enough cash reserves so that that cash reserve that you have does not influence your trading decision, does not make you emotional about your trading decisions.
So
So
then let's
that's how
talk about that then. How do you break that up? How do you look at, okay, cool, your day to day, how much you need versus how much you're going to trade? How do you break that percentage up?
I did this allocation like long before I even got full time. Like it's something that I planned out a very long time. So whatever amount
Wonderful. So yes. So everyone listen to this, because it doesn't mean you got to stop your job today and do this full time tomorrow. Because as Satesh said, seeing as we're going to drop off some curse words, he ate shit for the first year. That's what he did when he tried to do this full time. So he prepped this strategy up and it lined him up to become a full time trader, as you were, Satesh. Let's go.
Yes. So it's something that I planned out, like the allocations bit, a very long time. Like, okay, so what I usually do is that since I'm my cost of living is not that high, especially living here in Southeast Asia, and it's not that high. So I can afford to reinvest half of my earnings, whatever I make on a monthly basis. I can afford to reinvest it. So usually I reinvest it in my trading capital, in my trading personal trading account, or I'll reinvest it into like stocks. Especially like it's a more safer investment. So that's for more like long-term growth. So that's what I usually invest in. And then there's a certain percentage where I will save. There's a certain percentage which I use for expenditures, and there's a certain percentage which I use for like wants. Like I call it wants. It's things I don't need, but it will be nice to have. So these are the things I allocate my earnings to. So that's why it's important to also get your personal finance in order before you actually become a full-time trader. Then only then you won't be very emotional about it, because there's a plan in place for you to trade full-time.
Yeah. And I mean, again, it stems back to your discipline that you speak of.
Yeah.
We're not going to go down in that path as to how you establish that discipline. But I do think in terms of specifically trading now, your tools and tricks, are there any external tools that you use to help you with your trading strategies? Or are there specific tricks that you look at when you're trying to read the market?
I wouldn't say there's any external tools that I use, but one thing that I picked up very early on was that higher time frames are the key. And if you're still,
when you're saying higher time frames, you're talking about longer term.
yeah, longer term. So
okay, so that's looking at the graph and you're going, okay, I'm going to do a monthly view as opposed to a daily view or a.
I will say, because that you're giving such a generic, not generic, your leeway for the longer term view is actually very okay, let me just rephrase. Usually when you see online, people what they'll be trading on the minute chart, they'll be scalping on the 5 minute chart, or if they're day trading, they're on the hourly chart. I feel like there's so much information there for you to process that you cannot actually take a moment, take a step back and think whether this is what you want to do, because the markets move so fast and you are also making decisions very quickly and possibly even losing money for it. And so that's why when I started off trading, I started off focusing solely on the daily chart. Everything's slow down for me. And for one day, I only have one candle. I only have to think about that one candle. That's all I have to analyze for that one candle. It's not like if I'm trading on the hour, every hour there's one candle that I have to look through and I have to make a trading decision. It becomes very tiring after a while. And it can also lead to you to over trading, because there's so many entries are being formed on a daily basis. When you're trading on a higher time frame, things are easier. So things are easier for you. So I think that one tips or tricks that I can say is that focus on the higher time frames. Even I don't know whether you know this trader called Bernd Skorupski. I don't know how to pronounce his
Yeah.
full name, but he's the highest rated trader on FTMO, and he trades only on the daily chart as well. So you see, the common theme that I used to see, like among all of these people, are that they trade on the higher time frames. Very rarely I see people who make it. There are, I'm not saying there isn't, but there's not many. So focus on
Yeah.
the higher time frames.
I mean, what I find that fascinating is you're doing this full time. So my assumption would be you'd be looking at the micro sort of interactions in the daily to try to sculpt. But you're saying, okay, no, I'm doing this full time, so I'm looking longer term. And longer term, by zooming out and looking at the long term trends, it's far easier to make my decision and my prediction. That I find
Correct.
quite a jump from what my natural perception is for a full time trader.
Exactly. Like someone will think that you're trading full time, so you're most likely you're day trading, or you're in front of your computer all the time trying to scalp in and out very quick because you have the ability to do so. But that doesn't mean that
you should go do
that. Yes.
Yeah, because it's also extremely tiring and fatiguing.
Exactly.
I mean, when you're trying to chase, and that's the problem, I suppose. It's like when you're doing that, you keep trying to chase something and you're not running your own race. And I think that's the thing that's very key. You're a clear man who's running his own race and not chasing someone else's race. And if you're going to keep chasing someone else's race, you're going to be tired because you're not prepared for it. So that's fascinating. I think, Satesh, based on this running analogy I just gave, how would you describe your personal trading strategy?
In terms of the technical term of it, I am a trend trader. I trade according to trends. I try to look for long-term trends, and I catch. My strategy doesn't have a high win rate. My win rate is only about 1/3, 34, 35%. But the thing is, when I win a lot because I'm consistently adding positions when I'm in a trade, when there is a winning trade. So if you analyze my account, if you can see what's going on in the background, if you realize my winning rate is very low, I don't win a lot. But when I win by a large margin. So I'm a trend trader using I scale into positions as the trend goes in my favor. So basically, that's as simple as
I think you're being very modest. But on that point, we move to the funding frontier perspective, and you're saying exactly that. You don't go for the home runs, the massive home runs. And when we're looking at your payouts here, I mean, $2,600 on a 50K account, $1,500 on a 25K account, $1,500 again on a 50K account. You've got the option to choose between 400K to up to, or 5K up to 400K, but you're playing in that middle bracket between 25K to 50K. And again, is that specific to exactly what you've just explained regarding a strategy?
In terms of how I get capitalized, how I get myself capitalized?
Yeah, exactly. Why are you going for those totals specifically?
Ever since the past few months, the firm industry has been under the spotlight because of regulations possibly coming in, and also the reason why I go for small accounts is that I try to diversify among few firms. So that's the reason why I take 50K here, 50K there, and just try to manage it. And also another thing is because I want to start my funded accounts at different stages of my strategies trading period. If that means, for example, if let's just say I have 100K with you, I will start it on the first week of the month, and maybe that week I end up having a losing week. But if let's just say I have a 50K year, a 50K year, I can start this on the first week, I can start this on the second week, and the second week may have a winning week that can cover up the losses from the first week. So it's like, do you get what I'm trying to say?
No, I get exactly what you're trying to say. I think that makes sense in my mind. You're hedging your bets here, and you're keeping a balanced sheet there, which is incredible.
Yes, correct. So it's like I'm not like taking opposite trades or what. It's just that I'm just trying to just trying to diversify my trading periods, because there will be weeks that I win, there will be weeks that I lose. So I don't want to place it all on that one week. I want to if I can, I want to spread it out among those weeks. So I wouldn't know which weeks win. I wouldn't know which weeks lose. So it's for me to just diversify risk how I see fit.
Okay, so on that note, I mean, you've clearly done a competitor analysis for Funding Frontier. What's the benefit of trading with Funding Frontier?
If I'm being very honest, is the way, first things first, I think the support is one of the best that if not the best, maybe for the past few months they have been the best for me, at least for me personally. Every
Cool.
question that I get that I have issues with, I always get answered very quickly from Discord. I'm gonna give a special shout out to Kaushik. He is always there attending to me, my personal matters. Personal matters, he's been attending to my matters personally, getting it resolved very quickly. That's the first thing. And secondly is the payouts. The payouts gets sorted out. I wouldn't say it's like oh I request for it in a few hours I get the payouts, because I feel like that's a bit of an unrealistic expectation. I do get my payouts within a reasonable time frame, but they are handled in a very professional manner. That's what I really like, because I run my payouts through a LLC, like a company. So they get transferred to my company in a very professional manner. So I really like that about Funding Frontier. And yeah, that's the two that I really, really like. So it suits me the best. Maybe it may not be what other people like, but for me, I think it suits me the best. And that's why I always say this, that Funding Frontier is such a hidden gem among our industry, about how it's not talked about much, surprisingly, because it's, to be fair, I had my reservations when I first joined you guys, because I didn't hear of this firm before, because almost all the other firms are like very much advertised a lot. Every time I'm watching a YouTube video, I'm seeing a firm before the video starts. But so I had my
Look. Satesh, let me stop you right here. I mean, Funding Frontiers for the diehard, for the person who knows your stuff. You've clearly found your way, and you know your stuff, and now you know the truth. This is how Funding Frontier plays its games. You talk about trading, playing the game, learning how to play the game. This is a game that we would like to say you're succeeding in. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this, he is part of the Funding Frontier community. So find him on Discord. You're welcome to chat to Satesh. Of course, I'm just saying this for you. If they are welcome to chat to you, Satesh is there in the Discord channel.
I'll be there.
I think just with regards to one more thing from a Funding Frontier perspective, for the first person doing it and wants to join a prop firm but is not sure how to, how would you explain the challenge process and the verification challenge and that step in terms of making sure that you pass, and how difficult that actually is for a newcomer?
Okay, so I've talked about this a bit in the email interview that I got, the written interview. And what my advice is to not rush through it, because you have unlimited trading period, and I understand you want to rush through it so they can get funded, so that you can get a payout. But you should always take it small step at a time, one step at a time, So when you're in phase one, your first goal is to get to phase two. And when you're in phase two, your next goal is to get funded. So you should only look at what's ahead of you and not so far into the future, because if then you're going to miss a step and you're going to fall down. So take it easy, plan your things up. Just because you take it easy, that doesn't mean you risk 0.01% and you continue having your account for like 2 years, 2 to 3 years. Then there's an opportunity cost there that you're missing out on. Plan out how you want to tackle the challenge account. But at the same time, know that you have an unlimited trading period and you can use that to your advantage as much as you can.
There you go. Spoken by the man who's on a hat trick of payouts. Looking forward to make his fourth one. I'm sure the Funding Frontier would be happy to pay that 4 out of 4 for you, sir. We're going to move on to the section called the rapid fire. I'm going to ask you quick questions, and you're going to give me quick answers. So let's see what people can get out of this. First question: trade funded capital or personal capital?
Funded capital.
Day trading or long-term investing?
Long-term investing.
Biggest trading win?
$5,000.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. Ladies and gentlemen, sound the alarms. The man is on fire. Right. Pre-market or after-hours trading?
Pre-market.
Which stock would you hold for 10 years? We know you do Forex, but we're talking stocks now.
Oh, that's a hard one. But I would like to say Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola for the win, we know. That's been around for a long time. We're going to talk about a little historical fact. You do know it started during World War II, and they capitalized on the distribution channel. Like, that's something else. That's not Funding Frontier's history channel. All right. Best financial advice you've ever received?
Don't leave all your money in a savings account, because the banks are making money off your money. Find a way to invest it.
That's the one everyone needs to listen to. That's a lie. You get told that at a young age, and it's a lie.
Yeah.
Thank you, Satesh, for spilling the truth. Worst financial advice you've ever heard?
go to school, get a degree, and you'll get. I feel like the ROI on that is not so high.
Yeah. You know what? You speak a lot of wisdom here. If people don't tune in and comment, listen, if you need to comment below and see, right, tell us what your takeaways are. We still got 2 more questions. Sorry, I'm getting distracted because you've been such a great guest here. One book every trader should read.
Best Loser Wins by Tom Huggett.
The future of trading, more human or more algorithmic?
I'll say there will still be a human element to it.
Great. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was the rapid fire. We're going to move on to our last section of the show, and that's the takeaway. Satesh, you've given us a lot of golden gems here. And for those of you trading commodities, gold is the one, just in case that's what we've heard on the streets anyway. What is your key takeaway message for the people listening?
Trading is like no other over here in this world. It's a career that will allow you to compound your money like nothing else. It's literally a life hack. It's like almost having like 12 years in 1 year, because usually when you're investing in stocks, you're compounding on a yearly basis, but when you're trading, you can compound on a monthly basis. So it's like you're accelerating your wealth times 12. So that's why I always think about like trading is like, it's so easy to scale up trading. All you have to do is just move the decimal places. But in order to get to that stage, it's very, very hard. So someone told me before that trading, like, is the hardest way to make easy money, because from the outside, all we do is just buy or sell. But in order to reach to the stage where we just click buy or sell and make money is so hard, but it's really, really worth it. And if you really like it, please go ahead. But you know that it's not going to be an easy. Please know that it's not going to be an easy journey, but it will be definitely a worthy journey.
Nothing in life comes easy there. We just want to ask you one more thing from a Funding Frontier perspective. What are your future plans trading with Funding Frontier?
Currently, I'm going through another phase 1 challenge with them, almost passing, close there. Then I'll be focusing on that account. And then as time goes on, probably another challenge. So yeah, I'm hoping to get myself max funded, definitely with the 400K. And I'm still looking forward to your scaling plan that I very much would like to be a part of. That's yet to be released. So
I'm pretty sure because Sheik's got you on speed dial. So when that happens, he's going to be pulling the trigger there. Ladies and gentlemen, this was Satesh. You're going to have to help me with the surname pronunciation again. Subramaniam.
Yep. Yeah, that's good. That's good enough.
I mean, it doesn't have the end bit there, but okay. Yeah. For those of you joining us for the first time, we'd like to say thank you. For the second time, we're going to say we appreciate you. And of course, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. And if you want to join the Discord channel, we encourage that, because this is where, even if you're not trading with us, learn from guys like Satesh. They know what they are talking about. I'm going to close the show off with a wonderful quote from the very Satesh over here. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. Only by playing the game can you learn the game. Fail fast and quick, so you can learn from those mistakes early on. Satesh, you've been wonderful. Have a fantastic day, sir.
You too. Thanks for having me.
Cheers.
All right. Bye-bye.